cast the first game here, which is... Here we go. Alright guys, hello and welcome to a 1 versus 1 from the Balance of Power event. These are going to be the highlights of the event, and this first game that I'm going to cast is TatoH versus BacT. And of course, the Balance of Power event, or tournament, sorry, used the balance patch, which was created, or has been created, sorry, by Carlos Ferdinand and John Mendel. I think mostly Carlos Ferdinand. He's been posting about it lots and all sorts of stuff, but basically it's a big balance patch. It has lots of changes, and throughout these highlights I'm going to be talking about the changes that are in the patch and basically what exactly is different, what's new. But I will probably be uploading this to YouTube as well. You guys in the chat just like, hello YouTube, hi mom, I'm on TV. Not quite, but yeah, I'll probably be uploading most of these because they should be some really good games, because part of the balance patch was to get a lot of players, or a lot of players were choosing civs that were non-mirror, which is nice because non-mirror civ matchups often, you know, they're not that fair necessarily, but the balance patch helps to try and make them more fair, alleviate some of the issues, and you know, I think it's going to be great. I love to see non-mirror civs anyway, so I'm pretty hyped for this. Like I say, I'll be talking about the balance patch changes at the start of each game as well, and I thought I'd start with this game because it's nice and easy, because the Byzantines have absolutely no changes in the patch whatsoever. They are the only civ that has no direct civ changes, so that's easy. We can basically, BacT is a write-off. We don't have to talk about him, of course. I'm kidding, but yeah, BacT up to the north here in the blue. Now down to the south of the map in the red, we've got our good friend TatoH, TatoH, whatever you want to call him, and he's playing as the Koreans, and the Koreans do get a few changes because it's, you know, it's pretty well understood, or pretty, you know, it's basically general consensus that the Koreans are pretty bad on open land maps like Arabia. So I think a lot of these changes have been made with that in mind. But look at this start from BacT. He's going to steal a boar. He's going to steal 2 sheep as well. It looks like BacT has been taking a few lessons from TatoH here, but that's really going to throw TatoH like quite far back, since he's going to be missing a lot of resources. Thankfully, he has got this deer patch to the right of his town center. So yeah, we'll talk about the Koreans' changes, and of course there are general changes that affect all civs as well. But the Koreans, one of the things that the Koreans don't get, you know, really, is a nice food eco bonus, and that makes them, you know, not so great on open land maps like Arabia. And that means that, well, in the patch, they are given 25% faster foraging. Now, foraging is the slowest source of food income, one of the slowest sources, certainly the slowest that your villagers can get. And it's like, you know, on par with fishing ships taking the shorefish. But that 25% extra speed is good. It could entice players to make their mills a bit earlier, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you want to put an extra villager over to berries. Who knows? That's certainly going to give them a little food boost. And, you know, maybe even lure the Koreans into trying maybe a scout rush or something, though I don't really know if that would work too well. We'd have to wait and see, of course. This is why the players are playing the patch. So the other changes are basically the war wagons become a little cheaper. Now the war wagons are very expensive units, 120 wood each, and that's very costly, very difficult to mass them up, and it's really what makes the Koreans strong, but it's so difficult to achieve. So the wood price of war wagons has been reduced to 100 wood instead of 120, and their gold cost has been increased a little bit. But you know, you don't see war wagons every game, so we can kind of talk more about that if they come into play. And turtle ships are also cheaper, but it doesn't really matter in this game because there's no water, since it is Arabia. So yeah, Byzantine is nice and easy, no changes there. But I think the big change to the Koreans really in this kind of matchup, or that's really going to affect things here, is definitely this forage gathering speed. And that's certainly going to help TatoH out a little bit, given that he's just had his boar stolen, and given that BacT has also taken 2 of his sheep. Naughty, BacT, naughty. There are a few other general changes, but nothing I don't think that's going to come into play too much right now. You know, there's a few buffs and nerfs here or there, but I'll talk about them if they come into play at all. I think maybe one or two of them might do, but for now, there's not really a lot. I guess, actually, no. Seeing this, we've got a couple of barracks coming up for these guys. Now, this could be a drush from both of them. This barracks is a little bit late for Tato. Bagiofro's is a little bit, well, not late, but it's a little bit later than the 6-minute 30, which he would normally put it up. But he's going to go ahead, by the looks of things, and build some militia. Now, it's worth noting that the what's it called, the militia, well, sorry, not the militia, like the swordsman line has been buffed by the move speed, and basically militia, man-at-arms, long swordsman, all of those guys, sorry, not the militia, my bad, everything but the militia move 5% faster. So it doesn't really make the drush overpowered. It means that, you know, your militia are still going to move at the same speed, but once you hit feudal and if you upgrade to man-at-arms, the move speed will be increased. You could argue that's a good thing. I guess fairly limited usage, but it's certainly going to be useful if you want to raid more with man-at-arms, because man-at-arms are, you know, one of the downsides is that they're very slow, and they can be out-microed by archers super easy. They struggle to catch up to villagers when they're running to the TC, so that speed boost for the man-at-arms onwards should hopefully make them a little more viable in all situations. And also, long swordsmen have a little bit of extra HP, but that's about it, really. So anyway, I was kind of just checking off the balance changes there that this game's going to have included, and now we can kind of focus on the game a little more and see what it's going to be all about. So yeah, Tato's coming forwards with his drush, and Bagiofro was going to go forwards, but he's retreating back to his base now, as Tato's scout gets the upper hand here against Bagiofro's scout. And the reason for that, of course, is because Bagiofro tried to steal that boar, or he did steal that boar, rather. And because of that, he's got less health, which means that Tato should have an advantage in this drush, provided he fights on even ground. If he fights uphill, then the advantage might not be quite there. But you can see Tato has taken his deer here, and yes, he has only had that one boar, so he's kind of behind in terms of food. But I don't think he's too worried about that. He seems just fine anyway. They both clicked up at almost identical times here. And we've got Bagiofro coming forwards with 4 villagers. And at the same time, we've got Tato coming forwards with 4 villagers as well. Neither of them really having much conflict, but both of them trying to do this forward aggression, and both of them completely slipping past each other for the time being. Now, right here on this front side, you see Tato taking 2 villagers on gold, and that to me says he's going to do man-at-arms once he hits the feudal age. And the reason for that is because, well, he's still making militia. He's added in an extra one here, making that 4 now. And that extra gold is required, of course, if you want that man-at-arms upgrade, that 50 gold required to do that. So he's going to go ahead and do that. Look how many villages he has on berries. 6 villagers on berries here. They are nomming those berries. They are gathering them so fast. Oh my god. These Koreans really working on that berry income. But it's really helping them out. And especially when it comes to this man-at-arms aggression, which, by the way, both of them are doing. Look at this. Man-at-arms for both of them. And double bitaxe for both of them, literally seconds apart. Pretty nuts stuff. And you can see Bagiofro here trying to wall up quickly, trying to prevent this aggression from doing too much damage. A gate coming up, as well as a couple of houses here to try and make a wall towards this TC and funnel these units through the deadly path of the town center. At the back of the map, Bagiofro coming in. These man-at-arms now, of course, moving a little bit faster than otherwise, allowing him to maybe get that villager kill where he otherwise perhaps would not. Ballsy move by Bagiofro, sitting under that TC there, and now the man-at-arms are coming in to the stone mine at the back. Pretty good play by BacT, and he's certainly finding a few more villagers than Tato. The only downside, I guess, Bagiofro with a bunch of idols there outside of his TC, but that looks like it's going to be another dead villager to me. And you can see these guys, they struggle to catch up to the villagers even with this 5% movement speed bonus, and as soon as they get into the range of the town center, they get absolutely chopped to bits. They get cut down. So there you go, they're going to have to run away. Run away. Away, away, away. Oh, out they go. And Tato now building a few towers here to defend. Not, well, just a couple of towers. A tower on the stone, a tower on the wood line, and he's also denied the tower from Bagiofro on the front with his villagers. Nicely done. He's also come forwards with a tower, and you know the Koreans are a strong trush civ, and the reason why they're good at tower rushing is because they get the guard tower upgrade for free, and I want to talk about that in a minute, well, when we get to the Castle Age, because the guard towers have been buffed in this patch as well, and I think that's a much needed buff, because if you think about it, you know, whoever realistically upgrades to guard tower and keep, players don't generally do that because it's much more worthwhile to save your stone and build a castle. It's so much more better value for money. A castle provides so much more than a tower does, and you know, guard towers in this patch have been buffed a little bit, and they have been buffed by getting an extra 1 attack, and keeps been buffed by getting an extra 2 attack. So I think that's going to be really you know, I think it's going to be really important here for TatoH. Once he gets to the Castle Age, if he gets to the Castle Age, which he should do now since he's got these defensive towers up, he's going to get that extra attack on the guard towers, and we'll see if that really comes into play too much or not. Either way, he's trying to be a nuisance. I don't know why he's not attacking these villagers here. He's got to be in range of that wood line, and he's also bringing up a tower at the back. I like this walling by BacT. Interesting walls. Gates coming up. Gates are actually great because they cover quite a big area, and I guess the only downside is the cost of stone, but BacT is taking stone anyway, since he's coming in with a trush, or he tried a trush of his own. He's also now bringing out some skirms, and that's of course because the Byzantine skirmishers are cheap as ships, as well as their spearmen and camels. They're reduced cost on those guys, and he's going to add some he's going to add some skirms in, maybe some more archers as well, but I don't know, he's not got that many villagers taking gold, so he's certainly not going to be going all out into archers in this situation. He's taking a lot of stone though, and it looks like he'll be throwing up maybe a couple more defensive towers here, as TatoH looks pretty menacing on this right hand side, trying to tear down this gate. It's going to take him quite a while. Maybe he'd be better off focusing on this house instead, because that gate is pretty buff, let's be honest. At the back of the map here, TatoH is going to be towered up on this wood line. I don't think this tower is going to be too effective, actually. I don't think BacT has got fletching. He doesn't seem to have a blacksmith, so no extra range. Maybe he'll find something on this wood line if TatoH strays too close. But other than that, I think that tower is pretty useful, really. Useless, rather. My goodness me. That gives the total opposite meaning. Useful tower or useless tower. You choose. No, it's a useless tower because it doesn't really do a whole lot. He will, however, put up a blacksmith here. Maybe he'll get fletching, and maybe that'll make his towers a little more effective. Who knows? He's going to go ahead and build a guard watchtower here as well. And that is going to obviously stop this aggression from TatoH. And so far, TatoH's really not done a huge amount here with these towers. He's not done a huge amount with these man-at-arms. He's sure kept them alive, but he's certainly not really done much eco damage. And if you have a look, BacT with a single extra villager, and BacT with a little more population here as well. But the KD is 4 kills for TatoH, 3 deaths, and BacT 3 kills and 4 deaths. There's very little in it, really, at this stage. And, you know, when you see a game with a lot of towers coming up, the gameplay can kind of get extended just because it's very difficult for a feudal army to push in against towers. It's kind of difficult as well for a Castle Age army to push in against towers. If you're going for crossbows, then towers are going to shred you to bits. Knights, not so bad, but if your opponents have like 4 or 5 towers in their economy and you're trying to raid, you're going to be taking a lot of damage from the towers and the TCs. So, you know, even with knights in the picture, towers can really make it difficult, and you need at least a siege workshop to clean them up comfortably. So BacT is continuing to tower out here, but I mean, these towers, this one's a bit better. It's going to actually prevent TatoH from farming on the left side of his TC. But other than that, he's kind of just grouping his units up, and I think, you know, for either of these players to do a lot of damage at this stage, it's either going to be coming down to the towers themselves, or they're going to have to go to the Castle Age first. And TatoH's trying to build more towers up on the front here, but BacT a tower on the left, a tower on the right, and TatoH will not be able to push any further. It's worth noting that BacT has now got fletching, which means he's going to have that extra range and extra attack, and that could be useful. It might be able to give him the upper hand against these towers here. It's certainly going to prevent TatoH from coming in and building a tower in attack range. he can easily outrange him with the extra +1. So I think for now the game's going to get fairly stagnant until either of these players reach the castle age. Of course, BacT is going to continue to tower it up. And it's kind of funny because TatoH's built his blacksmith outside of BacT's base, and BacT's built his blacksmith outside of TatoH's base, because why not, I guess. Wheelbarrow coming in for TatoH, and it looks like he's going to be the first up to the castle age here. The main problem for TatoH here is the lack of gold. And I think that's probably going to be one of his biggest issues this game at this rate. Simply because this gold here is out of bounds now. He can't realistically get there because BacT's army is holding this area down. He's also building a watchtower here, which means that now this gold is covered by the watchtower, and this gold is covered by the watchtower. The only other gold is back here for TatoH, or it's over outside of BacT's base. I mean, he could try and attempt something like that. He could try and take this gold out on the front and kind of use his towers for protection, but they're not going to offer much protection at this rate because they're going to be torn down by these stronger towers from BacT, since fletching now has been done for some time. TatoH has got fletching at last, but without any villagers garrisoned inside, these towers are toast. TatoH up to the castle age though, and he must have done some market voodoo right there, throwing up the market, sell some resources, probably selling a bit of stone just to get his way up to the castle age. But BacT is unrelenting. His towers coming up all over the place. And they're going to be on that wood line as well, which is going to make things pretty awkward. Fortunately, TatoH has got a good backwood area here, but he's going to need more towers at this rate. He's going to need a lot more towers at this rate. But hey, with the castle age coming up for TatoH here, he might be able to start pushing this back a little bit, and he might possibly be able to get a siege workshop, make a couple of rams, maybe mangonels, whatever floats his boat, and bring these towers down. If he can do that, then obviously that's going to be very good for him. Now, BacT is coming in here. He is not going to be able to he's not going to be stopped. TatoH trying to wall that up, but absolutely failing. And I don't know, maybe he'll lose a couple of villagers. BacT doesn't really need these villager kills because I think he's probably in an advantageous position at the moment. BacT certainly has the better control of the map. The towers from TatoH's towers, it rolls off the tongue, that does, kind of just, well, they're not there anymore. There's only one left. There's no real pressure on BacT back at home, and I think TatoH is feeling the heat at the moment. He's got no walls, so, you know, BacT can just waltz in whenever he likes, and he's not really going to be able to push out of his base too easily without siege now. So he's kind of forced in that respect. He's forced to make siege. And, you know, wherever he tries to rebuild, it's not too good. But hey, look at that. We've got ourselves guard towers up, and the +1 attack is now active for TatoH. 7 attack there instead of 6, of course, and of course extra range as well, 8+2 now. And of course, once he gets Bodkin arrow, which he is doing, 8+3, which is pretty huge. That's a lot of range, dude. So that's probably going to help him to push this back a little bit as well. His towers might be able to counter BacT's towers, but it's a pretty messy game. I gotta say, I do love the way that the Korean guard towers look, though. They look really nice. I love them. I think they look so cool. I love towers. They're really awesome. It's just a shame that they're so goddamn useless in this game most of the time. So TatoH is so far ahead up to the castle age here. It's unreal. It makes you wonder, what's the plan? TatoH, what's the plan? Stan? Well, at the moment, he's building up a second TC out on the front here. So I was certainly right. He is going to just take this gold on the front. And that's kind of ballsy, because he's not really got a lot of protection out here. BacT obviously on the way up to the castle age now. And TatoH building a third TC up at the back. Now, I'm wondering really, if is it the right choice to make more TCs now? Would it be better to do, I don't know, would it be better to do a siege workshop first and try and push the towers down and regain some map control? Maybe it would. But he's going down the TC route here to try and get a few more villagers out, get his economy rolling a little bit. And interestingly enough, they both have pretty much identical villager counts, but obviously much more military for BacT at the moment, since TatoH has 0 and BacT has 15. Now, Tato could take the gold back here as well, so I don't know why he's so set on building a TC out on the front. It certainly doesn't seem like the safest position to build it, and if BacT was to do a siege workshop as soon as he gets to castle, then he's going to be able to deal with that one pretty easily, since it's just there's no protection here at all. Tato has no military out, and there's not even any towers to keep it safe as well. So I don't know, this TC here, little risky. And it's taking Tato an age to build it as well. I mean, BacT is going to be castled by the time this TC goes up pretty much. Pretty nuts. Thank you very much, Snooker Balls, for resubscribing. Much awesome. 2 months in a row. Thank you very much, man. I want to see those Wallow hypes, guys, for Snooker Balls. I love his name. It's so good. Oh, and it's happened again. I don't know what's going on, guys, but for some reason, it's doing it twice. Twitch Alerts is somehow broken today. Everyone gets a double dip, it seems. So anyway, BacT is building up his second TC now, and do I hear a siege workshop? I do. At the back of Tato's base, a siege workshop coming up from BacT. Up at the BacT. BacT is going to throw up a siege workshop at the BacT and bring out some of these mangonels. I wonder if mangonels really are the right choice for BacT against guard towers. It's going to be a little more tough to take them down since the extra range and the extra attack damage. Will the mangonel be good for this situation? He could just go for the TC instead of the guard tower. We'll have to wait and find out, of course. And on the front for Tato, also building a siege workshop now and a monastery, which I like. Maybe we'll see some monks coming out pretty soon. But I mean, look at this. BacT coming in on this stone, 4 villages down instantly. But look how far away he's getting picked off by these guard towers. That's unreal. These guys are getting picked off from so far out. My god. Let me try this again. Menireric. Thank you very much for subbing. Much appreciated. My god, sorry. I can't say your name. I can't read for the life of me. But there it is again. Double dipping till the end of time. You get a double dip. You get a double dip. Everybody gets a double dip. Thank you very much for subscribing, man. Let's see this Wallow hypes, guys. Welcome to the Wallow Warlords. So yeah, I mean, these guard towers surprisingly effective. I mean, these 3 right here probably killed, quite a few crossbows. I think 4 going down in total. They are coming around the back, though. And Tato, I mean, he's putting more towers up. He's forced to play so defensively. And, I mean, still losing villages right here. This tower is... Oh, my god. BacT could have stopped that if he'd have just focused down on the right villager there. But he's going to pick another bunch of villagers off. And BacT is still with just the 2 TCs versus Tato's 3. But he does have the villager advantage. So he's certainly done a lot more eco raiding. And BacT at the moment, 28 kills to 27 losses. But most of BacT's losses are military, whereas Tato's losses at this stage are mostly economy. So Mangonel coming out, and he is indeed going for the town centre instead, and I do think that is the better choice. These guard towers are going to be pretty tough to bring down, and oh my god, I victorious as well, tuning in, and 14 months in a row. Are you kidding me? 14! That is so many months. That's a year and a bit. That's insane. Thank you very much, Ivik, for resubscribing for the 14th time. I think you must be the longest serving subscriber ever. And then, you know what, guys? I'm afraid I'm going to have to just turn this off for a minute until I can fix this, because it's going to get really annoying if it keeps happening twice for everybody who resubs. So I'm just going to disable it for now, and we'll try and find a workaround or a solution to the subscriber thing, because clearly that is not good. Anyway, BacT on these 2 TCs right here, with a stronger economy, yet also clicking up to the Imperial Age first. He's rushing that Imperial Age upgrade, and I think that's a pretty interesting choice. Obviously, at the moment, he's going to have a little bit of a hard time taking out the guard towers of TatoH. He knows that, and at the moment as well, he's trying to bring down this TC. TatoH's bringing out mangonels. It's a pretty messy game. There's mangonels all over the place. Both of them have a forward going at the moment. BacT losing these towers now. And the difficulty here for him is that he can't push out against this because the guard towers are going to cut those villagers down very quickly. And Sheriff Q wants to see the villager idle time. Well, TatoH has 1 hour and 37 minutes of idle time. BacT for 1 hour and 22 minutes of idle time. So that's a lot of time these villagers have spent idle. And the general gist is that if you are playing a tower rush strategy, you're going to have a lot more idle time. That's kind of just makes sense, because you're going to have a lot more villagers garrisoned up in the towers and things like that. Seems like BacT has been cleaned up back here, though. TatoH has managed to take him out with his mangonel. Obviously, a little bit better micro. We see a bunch of crossbows down on the floor there as well. And the mangonel is here, just gone. So BacT's aggression at the back stopped in its tracks for now. But so is TatoH. TatoH is not going to be able to push in here very easily now that BacT is building a castle. And castles are great because they just stop mangonels in their tracks. Any mangonel that comes anywhere near this castle is going to be basically, you know, one shot down and destroyed in an instant. That's going to be very, very hard for TatoH to push in here now until he reaches the Imperial Age himself. And he certainly does not look anywhere near to the Imperial Age right now. He's got he's got an okay economy. He's overtaken BacT and villagers again, but that's understandable whilst he's had 3 TCs working and BacT has just had the 1 TC working since he was upgrading to Imperial with the other one. He's doing Bracer now as well. And TatoH's bringing out a ram to try and bring down these towers, but easily dealt with a few villagers. Kind of wasteful almost to do that. But yeah, what was I saying? Bracer coming in for BacT for now, and a Trebuchet coming out. Looks like that's going to be his master plan of action right here. He's going to be bringing out a Treb, and I think that's probably the easiest way to take down these guard towers right now. Obviously, a ram is more ideal than a mangonel. But TatoH can very easily bring villagers over and kill the ram, like we saw TatoH did to BacT did to TatoH's ram down here. So Treb's definitely going to be a very good answer to this, and there'll be no resistance to this Trebuchet, I don't think, because TatoH has no real land army. He's got a bunch of mangonels, but that's about it. There's a monk, there's mostly mangonels, a scorpion somewhere, but there's not really anything other than siege from TatoH right now. BacT is moving over to the left side. I don't really know why he doesn't just rush this mangonel down with his villagers, since there's absolutely no supporting units. And, you know, siege is very weak to a villager rush, and that's something that a lot of players just forget a lot of the time. You know, if siege is undefended, it is so weak, so exposed, so easy to take down. And just a couple of villagers there would easily take this mangonel out, and I think BacT, yeah, gonna realize that it is undefended, and he's going to bring it down. Meanwhile, the Treb here going to be dealing swiftly with these towers. One is already down. The second is going to fall any moment now. And yeah, TatoH is going to be losing them. And with that, I think BacT could probably push out. He can go ahead and take down these buildings. He could even take down this TC. And that's a third of TatoH's economy right here, almost. You know, that TC is so far from home. No protection. And there's a Treb right here just waiting to tear it to the ground. TatoH has made it up to the Imperial Age, though. He's actually doing the upgrade right now, which is good. But at the same time, he's still feeling the heat. He's not really having much of a breather this game. BacT in the back of his base with some arbalests just to be a nuisance. Obviously this Treb now moving out, pushing out on the right side. But what's BacT actually doing here? Another Treb coming out, but still no real land army. There's just not a lot going on in terms of land army, and I think that's probably going to be pretty necessary very soon. Since once TatoH reaches Imp, he's probably going to want to do a little bit more than just siege. Put it that way. I think, you know, for BacT now, he doesn't really have like any stables or anything like that. He's only got Arbalest coming out, and you know, they're all right. They're all well and good for taking out villages and stuff. But with the amount of mangonels out on the map, I wouldn't really want to invest too heavily into arbs. TatoH, meanwhile, is doing some skirms inside of these ranges. He's going to go ahead and do elite skirmisher as well. So he's really just planning on countering the arbalest here. And I think for BacT in this situation, cavalry would be a great choice. Not only for raiding, but also just for taking out the siege. And oh yeah, look at that. Cataphract coming out for BacT right now, and I like that. BacT with the Cataphract as he comes out with 3, just to protect his siege. It's so easy. TatoH brings out a mangonel, Cataphracts raid it. Easily done. TatoH makes skirmishes, Cataphracts destroy them. On the left side, we've got a castle coming up for BacT as well here, and that will probably tear down these keeps pretty quickly. If you have a look as well, these keeps have 11 attack right now, which is pretty huge. Still, a castle has a lot more, and the range is 1 less on a castle. So, I don't know, castle's still obviously a lot better, given the fact that it has more base area. So, even though it has 1 less range, you see 8 plus 4 on the keep, 8 plus 3 on the castle, the range of the castle is still larger because the castle is 3 wide. So, it would be, if you were from this back corner, and you took it into consideration how far it could fire in this direction, it would be able to fire 8 plus 3 from here, plus this 2. So, I mean, it's kind of 8 plus 5 if you think about it that way. So, it does have more range than the keep, technically, I guess. But hey, a keep just getting upgraded by TatoH there. So, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. But still, the castle obviously superior. You can build military units from it. It controls a wider area of the map still, and that's kind of huge. BacT pushing out now. He's raiding with these arbalests. He's going to be finding villages all over the place. The Trebs are going to be bringing down this TC. TatoH can do nothing to stop this here on this right side, and on the left side, the TC is down here. BacT has got his mangonels out. He's going to struggle getting close to these keeps still, but he's finding some villager kills. TatoH's villager count 93. BacT is 95. He's just overtaken him for the first time in a while, but BacT is still looking a lot better. He's got these Cataphracts out. He's doing a skirmisher himself. He's going to be making a lot more military, I feel, and he's going to be bringing down these keeps as well on the right side from TatoH. I just feel like taking this gold here was really risky, and you saw how easy it was for BacT to take this out and clean it up. It really wasn't too hard for him. He can come in now and take this mangonel with this Cataphract. He's taking quite a lot of hits from these keeps, actually. And I don't know, I mean, they're quite dangerous. They're quite dangerous. 9 plus 4 attack. That's a lot, actually. I think the buff to keeps is definitely needed. And bear in mind, these are buffed keeps from the balance patch. So, I mean, in actual Age of Empires, without the balance patch installed, these keeps would be a lot less strong than they are. Anywho, I hear bombard tower, bombard cannon, bombard tower. Oh, it's a bombard cannon from TatoH there. He did chemistry earlier on, so a bombard cannon coming out. He's going to try and bring this castle down. That's a nice castle position from BacT, I think. Certainly going to help him to push in here at the back of TatoH's base. On the right side, he's built yet another TC. Pretty nuts. I mean, he's playing so aggressive here on this right side, so far forwards. And I think it's so pointless to do that, because BacT can so easily take this out with a couple of traps, like he has done. It's no difficulty for him to do that. On this left side, then TatoH is going to be hammering away at this castle for a long while before it goes down. BacT is bringing in the repairs, of course, and I don't think he's going to get that castle down in a hurry. Meanwhile, what else is going on? Ring archer armor for both. They're both going to be going for skirms, it seems. Of course, for the Byzantines, they're going to be a lot cheaper, so perhaps you could argue much easier to mass up as well. And for TatoH, I think, you know, the only thing he's got going for him really at the moment is that his keeps are going to slow down the advance of BacT. They almost act like bombard towers. You've got to take them out, because otherwise they're just going to whistle your units down when they get in range. But, you know, in this situation, it's just a matter of time almost until BacT gets through these keeps, and then he moves forward and he gets to the next set of keeps. It's just a way to stall him, I feel. And TatoH is going to be buying as much time as he can, I guess, to get some more skirms out, get some more military out on the map. But he's outnumbered by 20 military units. BacT here with 53 military. TatoH on just 30. And like I say, I mean, these guys are going to have fairly even upgrades, I guess. I mean, the elite skirms here for BacT not without the +4 defense, but TatoH is going to be outmassed, and ultimately it's really a numbers game. BacT going to be coming forwards with some rams. He's building more siege workshops. He's going to move his trebs forwards. TatoH is going to try and build a couple of siege workshops. What's he trying to build from these guys? Mangonels, still making mangonels, still building those keeps. But I don't see how he's going to defend this for long. Not with the trebs moving in. Not after BacT has already shown that he can take this area of economy out very quickly. The back of the map, BacT is still standing strong with his castle, bringing out bombard cannons of his own as well. So if TatoH is not paying enough attention, he might get taken out by this bombard cannon right here. But I think really for BacT now, he's just kind of solidified this forward area, and he's going to clean this up. That's going to be his priority. Oh, mangonel shot, fantastic. He's going to take down a lot of units there from TatoH. TatoH, for some reason, adding in some hand cannons. Maybe that was a misclick, because at this stage, hand cannons are going to be absolutely useless when you've got mass skirm out from BacT. And down goes the TC, down goes the siege workshops, down goes the keeps as well. TatoH's got nothing here. He's got nothing at all. He's forced into his little corner of the map. Once this is gone, he's lost all map control. He's down by 30 or 27 villages, so close to 30 villages at this point. And yeah, I mean, these keeps are not going to stay up for long at this stage either. So BacT, nice play. Pretty messy game, actually. I'm not really too much of a fan of the big sort of, you know, tower wars. I feel like they can really slow the pace of a game down, and once a player gets to Imperial, they can then start to deal with the towers. But yeah, I mean, TatoH's lost everything up on this right side here. There's nothing left. There's a few houses on the left side. He's forced to take wood really far from his eco, very far from any safety, and he's still behind in military count as well. But yeah, I mean, a pretty messy game, to say the least. TatoH's also just lost his 2 bombard cannons. I didn't see how that happened, but that means that this castle will stay up for BacT as well at the back of the map. And with BacT having all this map control, a big villager advantage, with Siege Ram coming out now, with much more potential for unit production, I don't see how TatoH can hang on much longer. And I wonder if he's really got a game plan at this stage. He's still trying to make more siege, still making more bombard cannons. But that's only going to get him so far. He's got a reasonable amount of wood and food. I guess he could make a lot more skirms than he is doing. But he's down to 125 population. BacT up on 164 right now. It looks like TatoH, he's got his last will, and that is to just take down this castle. If it's the last thing he does, he's going to take this castle down. And it looks like he's going to succeed. One more shot, and it's yours. There we go. And now he can call GG in the knowledge that he has done what he came here to do and take that castle out from the back of his base. I find it funny that this forage bush is still here right from the start. BacT has controlled that forage bush. He has owned it. It's his. But no more. TatoH has taken down the castle. What next? What next? Well, I mean, I don't see TatoH coming back from this position realistically. BacT coming in with some siege rams. Yeah, I mean, obviously villagers going to be taking them out, but I mean, why is BacT sending these forwards without any support? I don't really get that. Obviously, you know, they're going to be tanky. They can take some villager attacks. They can soak up the skirm fire. But is it really necessary to send them in at this stage? To just kind of waste them almost? He's going to go for the keeps by the looks of it. But TatoH here, just bringing everything he's got to fight this. He's bringing in his own capped rams. And by the way, rams actually do a lot of damage to other rams. Just look at this one here as TatoH fires his ram. It's gonna do a lot of damage. Down it goes, like a quarter of its health just gone with the ram attack. Ram on ram action. BacT gonna lose his last ram coming in here. It kind of makes me wonder what he was thinking with that aggression. TatoH, a little victory on the right, I guess, as well. He took down a treb here from BacT. And now BacT finally has +4 defense on these skirms, so it really is just a numbers game now. And it looks like he's going to win this fight as well. He's got the numbers he needs to win it. BacT doing bombard tower at the moment as well. So maybe some bombard towers to come up on the front if we get that far. TatoH's running away. Uh-oh. He's running to the hills. And I think this game is pretty much over right now. I mean, I don't really see, to be honest with you guys, how TatoH is going to be able to do a whole lot to come back from this position. He's just got no map control. And BacT, I mean, this is looking pretty sloppy from him as well. And maybe this is going to be the last push from TatoH here. I mean, I keep saying this, but he keeps pushing on. He keeps pushing back. Who knows? He's going to try and take down this TC. In comes the Rams from BacT, so they're going to have a little bit of Ram bashing going on. Of course, the capped Rams will lose that fight, you would assume. And, I mean, these scums aren't really going to be able to push in now. If the Rams are unable to stay up, then don't really expect the skirms to stand up to much of this either. Meanwhile, at this right side, BacT is coming in. Skirms tearing through those villages. Down they go. And, you know, down to 89 villagers here. TatoH surely realizes at this stage how far behind he has to be. And, I mean, I'm expecting a GG any second from TatoH right now. He's so low on resources. He's got no gold income. He's got very little food. He's got no stone income. He's just lost a bunch on the right side, and there he goes. Calling it right there. G to the G, and there you go. A tower war. A tower war. Yeah, I mean, that game was interesting. You know, normally the Koreans are a terrible civilization. And a lot of the time, players will attempt to tower rush with the Koreans anyway on a map like this. Just because, you know, they are arguably the best tower rush civ. Maybe the second best, maybe tied with the Teutons, depending on how you view it. I think the Koreans are the best tower rush civ, to be honest. So, you know, I think that the buffs here to the Koreans definitely would have helped them out in this situation. The tower rush just got a bit stronger thanks to the balance patch. Was it enough to win the game? Well, obviously not, as the towers really don't win. Towers don't really win games unless you can win the tower rush like in the feudal age or the castle age if you continue it. When it gets to the late game and you're still building towers, it's really just to try and defend. It's not so much to get aggressive, and if you're just constantly defending, your opponent is going to get the map control. They are going to pull ahead, and that's kind of what we saw here with BacT. A faster Imperial time. He was able to tear down the towers very quickly. So I think the towers themselves, the buff is nice. I think it might encourage players to tower rush a little more. But the Koreans are kind of already good at doing that anyway. I think the big one here for the Koreans are is the berry gathering speed. And you know, I think with the Drush sort of being slightly buffed in this patch, I guess the Drush hasn't been buffed, but the Man-at-Arm Rush has certainly been buffed with this patch. I think maybe the Koreans would be better trying to do more men-at-arms into long swordsmen, but you saw how quickly BacT shut that down. So I'm only thinking that the only real option left for them maybe is to try scouts. Could work, but again, maybe a little risky, but scouts into archers, I think, you know, maybe that could be nice for the Koreans in this situation. But they're still not on par with a civ like the Mongols in a 1v1 on Arabia. The 25% extra gathering speed on berries is nowhere near the Mongol hunt speed bonus in terms of how much that's going to help you out when doing a scout rush. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking about kind of other things. Obviously, the Byzantines are totally unaffected by this patch. There's nothing that they are changed. Nothing changed there, aside from the general changes that obviously affect all units. It's worth noting, actually, one thing I missed out earlier is that the ability to steal has been nerfed. Stealing has been nerfed. So you saw earlier how BacT stole that boar. Well, he did a pretty good job, actually, because boars now do more damage to scouts in this patch as well. But I don't think that really had enough of an impact. Maybe with a laggier game, maybe if you're not paying enough attention to your scout, that could hurt you. But I think it makes stealing more risky, which I like, to be honest with you. I think that's a nice change. But yeah, I'm trying to think anything else I could say about this game at the moment. I don't think we saw much out of the ordinary. So we're going to go to the next game in just a sec. I'm just going to